Hey, just before we jump into the video, just wanted to say if you're already a subscriber, thanks a lot for the support. It means so much to me. If you are new around here and you haven't seen much, or you've maybe watched one or two videos, please drop a wee hit on the subscribe button. It means so much to me. There's plenty of playlists, plenty of content here for you no matter where you are on your Football Index journey. I'm sure you'll find something very useful for you. And let's get stuck into it. Hey everyone, and welcome to the next video for the Premier League preview ahead of the season starting later tonight and over the weekend. This video is going to be called the top 10 hopefuls, okay? And we're going to be looking at Watford, Palace, Newcastle, Bournemouth, and I'm going to say Southampton as well. So let's just get stuck right into it. Let's start with Watford, okay? So Watford, in terms of transfers, we had one or two late ones, I think, yesterday. Yeah, Danny Welbeck and Ismail Assar. I'm just trying to see. Locadio going out was big money. I think there was a bit of a headline about that. Oh, he's played 5 minutes to the Premier League, and I think they sold him for a decent fee. They've brought in Craig Dawson from West Brom, and as I scroll through, a lot of kind of unknowns coming back from loan. A bunch of boys I've never really heard of or don't even recognise their name. But yeah, Marvin Ziegler's back. Yeah, so not too much, you know. I think the main thing for Watford was not to lose. Oh, obviously they've not sold to a Premier League team anyway. Like guys like Doucouré and there's a few. Will Hughes, Delafeu. Where's Delafeu? Yep, Delafeu's still there. But yeah, so in goals, Ben Foster. Yeah, that's all we need to say about that. In defence, right, so Holebas and Yanmat have been really good at fullback for Watford under Javi Gracia, and even the previous managers. They'll probably continue to play. In terms of centre-half, Mariappa's getting on. Cabalese is in between a fullback and a centre-back. I don't know if he's first choice. I think sometimes they play three at the back, and I think that's when you'll see him play a bit more. Craig Dawson coming in, obviously, as an experienced Premier League player, and Craig Cathcart has been good for Watford. So out of this kind of defence, you know, if you're after dividends and that kind of thing, I think Holebas is a bit too keen to get booked and that type of thing, so he's probably not going to be winning you too many dividends. He's a bit of a foul merchant. But between Holebas and Yanmat, if they're getting an assist or two in a match and they manage to get a clean sheet against a team, then they're probably the players you'll be looking at in Watford's defence. In terms of midfield, so Nathaniel Chalobah, Tom Cleverley, Epue, Etienne Capoue, sorry, tongue twisting all over the place. Abdoulaye Doucouré, Will Hughes, Roberto Pereira, Domingos Quina, Ken Sema and Kiko, don't really know much about them, or Tom Dele Bashiru. But really strong midfield. Watford quite often, again last season, played either like a diamond if they were playing a four at the back. So a lot of these players were getting a lot of attention and a lot of love. Guys like Will Hughes, especially, with him being English, and it's been kind of one of these things where he's been... A lot of people have been saying he should be getting into the squad at least, you know, and pushing on. And I think if he continues to play well, with the cup final they got to last year, it's like the first time ever, I think, in Watford's history they've kept their manager from one season to the next. So a bit of consistency there, which would be sweet. And Chalobah and Cleverley the least so, but that English contingent there are definitely going to be valuable holds if they play well, they perform, their form increases, and especially Chalobah having his English kind of youth pedigree. Southgate will deputise those guys in the senior squad because that's just the way he rolls. But guys like Roberto Pereira and Domingos Quina, they can score goals from anywhere on the pitch. Same with Delafeu, and they're probably the main guys you'll be looking at. Quina is very cheap, and last season he broke onto the scene with some worldies, and if he gets more minutes and more game time, he went away to Portugal for one of the youth tournaments, so he could have a real breakout season depending on how many minutes he gets and how much of an actual chance he gets to make an impact. Up front, Danny Welbeck will probably super sub. I don't think he's going to be fit enough to really take the place away of Andre Gray, Isaac's success. Ismail Assar's came in, he's obviously going to be told he's going to be one of the first choices. Troy Deeney's a captain, he's going to play a lot. Okaka, didn't know he was still there, to be honest with you. He's been playing pre-season from the looks of it, but yeah, he didn't do much last year. Went away on loan from the looks of it to Udinese, the parent club, or the also owned by Watford owners. But yeah, he's been floating about pre-season, so he might be sold to the continent. I wouldn't really worry about him too much for a portfolio, but I see them having a good season this year. I don't think they're going to break that top 10. Looking at their squad, you think about the last video we done, the other half of the top 10, that they're not quite up to that scratch yet, in my opinion, certainly. We then move on to Palace. Okay, now Palace have held on to Zaha. He's not left so far. He's not left for another English club. He might move to Europe still. I wouldn't rule that out entirely, but so far so good if you're a Palace fan. James McCarthy comes in, Victor Camarasa comes in, Gary Cahill comes in, Jordan Ayew, a few free agents, a few guys returning from loans. They've sold Bissaka, of course. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So when we have a look at the squad, sorry, 2 seconds, it's starting to rain. Wayne Hennessy is almost certainly going to be the number one goalkeeper there. I think that Guaita, I think he played a fair bit last year from memory, but again, Palace are good for a clean sheet, so a goalkeeper that's playing for them week in, week out. I'm not the biggest Wayne Hennessy fan, to be honest with you. I don't think he's an amazing goalkeeper, but you know, Palace can get a few clean sheets this year. Excuse me, and there might be some dividends there for you to earn. In terms of defence, it's quite packed here, which is a good thing, I suppose, for Roy Hodgson and Palace fans. But Gary Cahill, Scott Dann, James Tompkins are going to be, and Mamadou Sakho, between the four of them is going to be the centre-half pairings for sure. I don't see Cahill going there to make up the numbers. This guy coming through the youth system could be good. Niko Taver, just because he's Croatian, I think that. Left back, Patrick Van Aanholt has made a big name for himself, and right back will be Joe Ward. I think if anyone's going to be winning you dividends or doing your portfolio any benefit, really, it's going to be Patrick Van Aanholt, because he's the next one who could leave Palace out of that defence and move onwards and upwards. He's been linked in the past to, I think, clubs like Lazio and whatever, you know, teams away from England, and I can't remember who they are. Maybe it might have been Atletico, I can't remember. But there was a few clubs sniffing about him last summer, I think, or even last January, and they've kept on to him, so he might be somebody worth looking at. In terms of midfield, I'm not too sure how he's going to shape up, because there's a lot of talent here from guys like Max Meyer, Andros Townsend, Luka Milivojevic. James McCarthy's come in. James McCarthy is already there. Sheikh Kouyaté came in last summer, and obviously they brought Victor Camarasa in, so I'm not really too sure exactly how the midfield's going to shape up. Milivojevic has 70 pence, takes the penalties, takes the free kicks, does all that stuff. But if he gets fit and firing, Max Meyer's the one you look at is the most high calibre. So who knows how that'll pan out. Jeffrey Schlupp, obviously we know about him from his time at Leicester and Palace. He's very strong, very quick. Up front, is it going to be the season where we have a fit Connor Wickham? Who knows? Is Benteke going to fire on all cylinders? I think the noise is coming out of pre-season from Palace as it is. And also they've kept Zaha. The best player in this team to have in your portfolio is going to be Zaha. But if somebody like Connor Wickham, who is still relatively, you know, young, 26, you know, if he was going to have a great season this year, if he was to stay completely fit, because the few times I've seen the guy, he definitely has talent, you know. There's no two ways about it, and the guy's just been super unlucky with injuries, so if he was to stay fit, I think he could be a sneaky one to have in the portfolio overall. But in this Palace team, I wouldn't be looking too far past Van Aanholt, Milivojevic, Meyer, and Zaha. Really, they're the kind of main ones you'd be looking at. Say Benteke could come into form, and he's somebody in form with the right fixture list. He could score 4 goals in a month. Definitely. Now Newcastle is the most interesting one, okay, because of all the drama that's went on with Rafa and Bruce, and then all the transfers have actually splashed out a good bit. So new right back has come in, Emil Kraft. Carroll's back in on virtually a pay-as-you-play deal. Alan St. Maxime has come in, the new Balotelli from all accounts. Jetro Williams at left back has came in. A few free agents knocking about. Joe Linton coming in for like 40 million or whatever. Jose Perez also went out. Antonio Barreca, he was only on loan, wasn't he? And yeah, the squad's got a bit thinner with a bunch of loan players returning. Dwight Gale's back in the squad, okay. So let's have a look at it. Dubravka was linked to PSG. That must be off, I think, because I've seen his price dipping the other day, so I don't know if that's going to go anywhere or not. But Dubravka is a sweet goalkeeper, and if he's staying at Newcastle, then he could be good, because by all accounts he ticks a lot of boxes. In terms of defence, the noises I've heard on the radio and whatnot is DeAndre Yedlin might be leaving, along with somebody else in this defence. I can't remember who. As I look around there now, nobody's jumping out. Manquillo and Yedlin are still potentially going to be leaving the club. So the back four is probably going to be something to the tune of at right back the Swedish boy, and left back Jetro Williams, and then centre half you're looking at a mixture of Kieran Clark, Fernandez, Lascelles, Schär, whoever's fit and whoever's on form. I think Lejeune got a good write up at Newcastle when he was on form. For some reason I think that. In terms of dividends, it's going to be a fullback really. Lascelles is a great hold to have if you think he's going to move on from Newcastle, maybe he goes to Leicester at some point and fills the Harry Maguire void, or maybe he moves to West Ham, but Lascelles is definitely somebody who could kick on and move on. Jetro Williams, I would not be surprised at all if he became a star player in the league, because I put a tweet out when Newcastle signed him, but Depay's breakout season at PSV, Jetro Williams was the left back, and he had every bit to do with Depay's success that got him the Man United transfer, as Depay did. I said it yesterday with Arsenal, Tierney and Pepe on that left hand side, but relationships on the pitch is what creates good form and reliability in players. And then we look at the midfield, and we've got a fair amount here to talk about. Miguel Almiron has stayed, Ki Sung-young is still there, Matty Longstaff is still there. Matt Ritchie, Jonjo Shelvey, Alan St. Maxime is more of a wide player, and Rolando Aarons, I thought he was more of a striker, and also still got Jack Colback. I think the must-have buys, there's a few actually. I'd probably say Miguel Almiron and Longstaff. I said Matty Longstaff, there's two of them, Sean and Matthew. Wonder if this one's any good. He's not did anything, he didn't go on loan or anything. So I know Sean Longstaff, he went on loan somewhere. So there might be another one coming through. It might be a De Boer situation, the De Boer brothers. I actually want to look to kill it at some point. That's nice. Jonjo Shelvey, I think he's kind of, football index wise, I don't think you're going to see him getting a big move. If you get a good month where he's in amongst it, he might get in an England squad maybe once. But for me, it's Longstaff and Almiron. Alan Maxime, I'd count him more as a forward, along with Joelinton, Christian Atsu, and Andy Carroll, and Matt Ritchie. Matt Ritchie under Benitez played like left back and stuff like that. I see Bruce letting him actually become the player he's meant to be and play more forward. In terms of the strikers, Joelinton, if he's going to do the business, if he's going to be the new Demba Ba, the new Papi Cisse, the new Alan Shearer, if you want to go as far as that, then he could be dangerous, and players could leave Newcastle. It's Alan St. Maxime, Miguel Almiron, these guys, if they were to do well, they could easily kick on and make a bigger move. But there's a fair amount of choice here. The English players are always going to be safer bets on Football Index because of it's an English media orientated platform, and most of the users are English as well. Just part and parcel of the way it rolls. Bournemouth, okay, so again, they've kept on to all their big names. They've got Harry Wilson in on loan. They've brought in a Dutch boy from Bruges. They've brought in Billing. They've brought in... sorry, I was just looking at Emerson Hindman. I didn't know he'd went to Atlanta. They've brought in Stacey Jack. Yeah, I was thinking about him with Leicester. It was Jack Stacey. He's went to Bournemouth, yeah. And as we scroll down, I think that's all the players that are really worth mentioning. Yeah. Cool, so let's have a look at the squad. It's going to be Begovic in goals, or Boric. I think Boric was pushing his place quite close last year. In defence, Ake, Cook, Charlie Daniels, Chris Mepham. Something's telling me something about him. Is he highly thought of? His name rings a bell. Oh, former Chelsea. He's come in from Brentford. Yeah, okay, so he's got a bit of pedigree. He could be a player who's going to play a lot more. Same as Jack Stacey. He came in with a big rep. Again, these players like Stacey and Mepham, they might be bled into the team a bit more gradually. Not totally up on the positions they play. But there's a lot of... Is it Steve Cook that was the... No, it wasn't Cook. It must be Charlie Daniels. Was it a captain or something? No, I think it's a midfielder called Cook or something, isn't it? My mind just went to mush. Who the hell's their midfielder? Maybe Lewis Cook? Steve Cook? I'm sure they had like a captain of one of the youth teams. And I'm tripping. It's going to come to me in a second. I'm going to see their name. But in defence, dividend-wise, Nathan Ake is the only one really worth holding for any reason, I'd say, in that setup there. In terms of midfield, we then have Phil Billing, David Brooks, Matt Butcher, Ryan Fraser stayed, Dan Gosling, Jordan Iba, Jefferson Lerma, Junior Stanislas, Andrew Sermon, Kyle Taylor. That's really going to annoy me. There's definitely a player missing here who's like I'm sure there is. It was like a youth player, Lewis. I'm sure it's like Lewis Cook or Lewis. It's really going to annoy me. Somebody help me out in the comment section so I can move on with the video, okay? Check out the comment section. Right. Brilliant. So they've held on to Ryan Fraser, right, who was heavily linked to Arsenal. I think he's in his last year of his deal, so he's probably just going to play out to the end of the season and maybe move on to 3. David Brooks, I think, is going to have a great season this year. I think he's really going to kick on and make a name for himself. He's quite expensive now. Being Welsh, he does have a bit of a ceiling. If he was English, this guy would really have been the limit for this guy on the index. But I think between Brooks and Fraser, Iba might kick on and do really well. Lerma is going to play. I don't see him actually earning you much in terms of dividends or anything like that. Same with Phil Billing. It's really going to be Brooks and Fraser that are going to do the damage for you more often than not. And then up front, it's all about Callum Wilson, Harry Wilson. Joshua King is so reliable for them, and Dominic Solanke, these guys getting right in amongst it. Harry Wilson, I think, is going to be the best out of that. I think he's going to have a real breakout year. Kind of what Mason Mount has done. Obviously they were both at Derby last year, but Mason Mount prior had been in the Eredivisie, making a name for himself. But I think this will be Harry Wilson's season to do what Mason Mount did last year and then come back and establish himself in that Liverpool team next year. So if you're thinking that far ahead, Harry Wilson's definitely somebody you want to be having a look at. I don't see Bournemouth breaking into that top 10. Again, I think this squad is just far too thin overall. This guy who I can't find, his name is definitely Lewis. I'm sure it is like Lewis something. Lewis Cook, Lewis Daniels, it's something. But yeah, I don't see them breaking into the top 10 this year, but there's a few players in there that are probably worth having. And in the last team, the reason I'm including Southampton in this is because I just believe in them doing better this year than last with the manager. In terms of incomings, they were quite minimal from memory, and as I scroll through this list, they are minimal. Moussa Djenepo came in, Shea Adams has came in, Danny Ings has came in. Wesley Hoyt went out on loan. Sofiane Boufal went out on loan. These guys might... Guido Carrillo went out on loan. Cedric Suarez, I thought he'd have left. But yeah, so Jordi Clase's left. So the team has been fairly stable. Hassan Hult's been working them on, obviously, the training pitch and whatever, which is cool. Now, in terms of goalkeepers, Fraser Foster, Angus Gunn and Alex McCarthy. I think the number one is going to be Angus Gunn, but they've got a lot of talent there. Fraser Foster's on something like 80 grand a week or something mental because he was so good at Celtic. It was a big transfer when they bought him, and he's just kind of waned away after an injury, which is unfortunate. In defence, there's actually quite a lot of talent here. And when we look at guys like Cedric Suarez and Jan Valery in particular, if you're thinking about Football Index, and Jan Bednarek, these are guys that have definitely got a future and something you might want to be keeping an eye on. Jan Valery, I'd probably say, is slightly probably my favourite out of that bunch. But guys as well are very reliable, like Ryan Bertrand and Maya Yoshida, Yannick Vestergaard. There's Wesley Hoyt, of course. There's a good, solid defence there somewhere, you know. In terms of midfielders, we've got Stu Baum himself, Armstrong. Boufal's there for the moment. We'll see if he's sold or not. Moussa Djenepo, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, Lamina, might leave, might not. Redmond, Romeo, and then Ward-Prowse is the only ones. Now, Ward-Prowse has been sniffing, and Redmond have been sniffing amongst the England squad, so if you can catch them at really cheap points and then they get brought back into an England squad, you've got a nice little flip there on your hands you can carry out, which is sweet. In terms of actual dividends for this team, the more minutes Armstrong gets, the better he'll be. How many minutes he gets or not is really what's going to make or break him at Southampton. But Armstrong, I'm telling you, if he plays often enough, he will do very well for them. He's a very, very good number 10, number 8 type player. And otherwise, Højbjerg is going to be connecting passes, key passes, that type of thing. But Ward-Prowse is probably going to be your head and shoulders player. At 24, he's really hard not to be attracted to if you're looking at this list. And then up front, it's going to be between Shea Adams and Danny Ings, I think, who really grabs the headlines. El Younousi didn't do too great last year, I don't think he really played up front either. It says here as a forward. I think he's a winger more than anything. And Shane Long famously has a poor goal record, but I think Shea Adams and Danny Ings are going to be the ones that are going to contribute the most goals up front. Shea Adams, with him being so young and so quick, he's definitely somebody who could rocket away should he score 15 goals this year and get linked to one of these top 10 teams, a Leicester, a West Ham and Everton, you know. So there's a good bit of potential in that Southampton squad, which is why I wanted to kind of bring them into that conversation, okay? So I don't see any of them breaking into the top 10. I don't really see any of those clubs we've just spoke about really struggling against relegation or anything like that. But yeah, they might go too well in the cups or whatever. Some good holds there. Thanks a lot for tuning in, guys. Like, share, subscribe, retweet, all that good stuff. And I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye bye.